About that star power.
Stay tuned because you know Reec is going to have one of your favorite stars with him today.
Stay tuned.
Hey, man, we are live, back at it, live in the city. Your boy Reec locked in with you. Of course, we are broadcasting live from Media Campus West, right here, Austell, GA, a little bit west of the A-Town. And, of course, we got a very special guest in the building. As y'all heard, Reec Radio is up and going. Shout out to our affiliates up in Charlotte, CMVA 107.5. Our folks up in Indiana, Michigan, and Miami. Let's go ahead and get all the way into it, man, because I got my guy in the building. And we got some extra eggs. He brought some backup with him today too. So we're gonna chop it up with these guys. So if you see me turn like this, it's because we family. We might just get to talking. All right. Without further ado, man, let me go ahead and get into it and play this sound one more time. We got a special guest.
It's all about that star power.
Stay tuned because you know Reec is going to have one of your favorite stars with him today.
Stay tuned.
Hit the hype bell early. I might wear the paint off this thing today. I got my brother from another, Todd Dennis, in the building. What's up, bro? And we got the world traveler in here too. I call him Dr. Curry, man. All right, let's get into it. When we have a special guest up here today, we like to do something called the biggest intro ever, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you your flowers while you here to smell them. You ready, my brother? Appreciate it. All right, man, the biggest intro ever. If you haven't seen him on the local news stations in states like Missouri, Alabama, the Carolinas, or Georgia, you probably seen him on national TV brands like CNN, Fox, BET, NBC, WSB, or MSNBC, among others. We laughing, but we're dead serious, all right? Maybe he's spoken directly to someone in your family at one of the many college campuses or on his national motivational tour. In a time not too far removed, this man could give you 30 points and 12 boards in any competitive basketball game, and he might drop 50 in a celebrity game. True story. He's respected on both sides of the law because he moves with integrity, and his character is the epitome of being genuine. His phone contacts range from Hall of Fame NBA players, high-ranking politicians, to high-profile political figures and celebrities. The man that works the sidelines for the Super Bowls, for goodness sakes. Tyrone Dennis, a.k.a. Top Flight, a.k.a. my dog Todd, a man who is bridging the gap between the people and the police, is live on the Reec Show. There we go.
Damn, bro, you gave me a whole dozen of flowers. My new name is Rashard.
There we go, man. I had to wear my tie today for my boy. You know what I'm saying? But we wanted to keep it cool. So this is what we doing, man. We want to talk to you about this wonderful organization you got, Clippers of Cops. But it didn't start there. It started from kind of how you grew up, how everything came together. You work in the force, and now you took a step away. And we need to talk about that too, because that's becoming a national issue with losing great officers in the city. So I want to kind of get into those things. I definitely want to convert some stuff to Curry since we got the OG in the building, and he's gonna be talking too. And he's a retired officer too, a detective. He trained officers. So I would have had your intro together had I known you was gonna be on the mic. I thought he was just coming for backup. So he got a laundry list too.
My list is small.
He likes to. He likes to stun on me. Like, I might send a picture of, hey man, check this out. I was just at an NBA game, and he'll send a picture of him hang gliding in Hawaii or something. I'll be like, all right, bro, we ain't got to do it like that. Right, man. But let's get into it, man, because you the only officer I know that can lock people up and then they'll still be cool with you. Like, they'll still hit your line.
It's being real, recognized real.
Yeah.
Easy said that.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm as real as they come.
Facts. That's
I am
facts.
who I am.
Uh-huh.
I grew up on the west side of St. Louis, holding my tracks, Page and Teller.
Yeah.
And when people say, like, a lot of people think as an officer, you was bullied, picked on, and all that stuff. I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
I've been popular since kindergarten. You know what I'm saying? Like, just being real. I didn't want to be a cop. I didn't grow up thinking I was going to be a cop. Mm-hmm. I thought I was going to the NBA like everybody else.
Right.
Due to circumstances, I ended up getting expelled from high school in March of my senior year, which caused me to lose Division I scholarship opportunities.
Yeah.
And I ended up going to a community college. And once I went to that community college, my professor put the law enforcement bug in my ear. He was a former FBI agent, and he started talking to me about, like, Mr. Dennis. He used to call on me, and he didn't know that in St. Louis we got something called voluntary desegregation. Shout out to Rockwood School District, my current employer. He didn't know that I got this awesome education since the 6th grade.
Yeah.
And so he used to call me to participate in the discussions. I was the only black student, and I could hold my own. And one day he came to me like, what are you trying to do with your degree? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just here to play ball. Like, I'm 18 years old. And he was like, have you ever thought about being in the FBI? And I'm like, the feds? No, never. Thinking that, right? And then he started bringing me different stuff. I started looking into it, and then that pretty much laid the foundation of me going into law enforcement. Left there, got my associate's degree in criminal justice, transferred to the University of North Alabama, where I continued criminal justice and then sociology, and I played ball there as well. In my 5th year, I ended up running cross country because we only had a partial scholarship.
Right.
Everybody laughed, made jokes. I used to have to be up at 5:30 running, and they used to be like, run, N-word, run, like making jokes.
Yeah.
But when I graduated in May of 2002, I graduated with a 0 balance. I didn't owe anybody nothing. So like I tell young people when I do motivational speaking, you got to do what you can before you do what you want. Everybody sees shine, but they don't know your grind.
Say it again, bro.
You gotta. There's a lot of work put in to most people that you see that's winning. It just didn't happen overnight. I didn't just wake up in this position. So right after I graduated, I went back to St. Louis for a couple of weeks because I had an opportunity. My first job was playing professional basketball in Columbia, South America.
Right.
But when I moved back to St. Louis, I used to read the St. Louis Post-Dispatch newspaper, just looking at seeing what jobs was out there. And I seen Atlanta Police Job Fair was in St. Louis, and I thought that was odd.
Right.
I didn't even have a car at the time. I used my cousin's car. I walked in some basketball shorts and some flip-flop, and my recruiter, Jan Boyer, she was like, you ain't never smoked weed. And I was like, nah, I play sports. She was like, when can you be in Atlanta? I'm like, it's only one catch. I fly out the country to go play ball next week. She was like, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. She was like, take this application, fill it out, and whenever you decide you're done playing ball, it's a job waiting on you.
Wow.
So I played ball in Columbia, in Tune, Boyaka, Columbia, and Monticello, Columbia, off and on for 2.5 years. And then I did the AND1 tour, as well as I played in the WBA, World Basketball Association. And while I would come try out for teams, I would always schedule it for Atlanta. And my roommate, Duke Laguerre, that was my roommate in college, he was from here. So me and him in 2004, I got tired of doing low-budget basketball. I decided.
I played in the WBA too. I understand.
Well, my mom hit me. My mom was like, hey, you got to get a job. And so I called my recruiter, and she basically had me do all my tests and everything. And in August of 2004, I moved to Atlanta. And when I first got here, my first night here, man, we went to Visions. And you know, I'm from St. Louis. Right. So I got a St. Louis hat on. And BMF walked in. And so I'm like, oh, they from the crib. My boy like, man, you better get on. You know what I'm saying? But I immediately learned Atlanta. And so I was a recruit from September when we actually started the academy in December. But while I'm in the academy, Brian Nichols took over the courthouse. Yeah. That happened. So right then and there, I'm like, oh.
This what I'm signing up
for?
Right.
What am I getting myself into?
Right.
The day before I swore in, Red Dog Officer Mark Cross was shot and killed. Yeah. So I called my mom like, Mom, I don't know about this.
Yeah,
like,
that's real
this
life
kind
stuff.
Right. And so from that, once we swore in, I did field training for 12 weeks. And then Hurricane Katrina happened. So all these different events are happening during the course early on in my career. Right. And this is when the police headquarters was at City Hall East. So I used to drive past Boulevard, and I'm like, oh, they hustling. Right. I can't wait till I'm a cop. They ain't gonna be doing that when I'm out there. And then once I became a patrol officer, they assigned me Wade Burris. Oh, wow. Was my supervisor. He put me on Boulevard. Right. And so I quickly learned that it was bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? And then as a police officer, I always felt that I was different. Everything that made me different actually ended up making me great as an officer because I came from that environment. I could relate. And whenever you talk to people, first thing they say is, you ain't a cop. It's like, I'm definitely a cop.
Yeah, you definitely a cop.
Growing up where I'm growing up,
he knows.
I didn't even know that I was fluent in gang culture and all this stuff because I had to be. Like, I had to know what colors, I had to know what signs somebody was throwing up because
it'll save your life.
That saved my life. So over the course, I did 6.5 years on patrol, and then I ended up becoming a detective. I worked Zone 6 for a year and a half, and then I wanted to go to homicide. Yeah. And then
why? What? Hold on. Who does it? Why?
Because I was blessed to work with two of the best homicide detectives, David Quinn and Vince Velasquez on this carjacking case.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, I want to rock like them dudes. Like,
the way they was figuring it out.
Yeah, like that's how I want to get down.
Of
And so when the order, we had a basketball game, on 6. Keith Meadows, South Fulton Chief, he behind the bench, he like, yeah, the call came for you. So I'm like, all right, I'm gone. Next day, say I'm going to targeted enforcement. So I'm like, what is that? I thought they sent me to the taxi unit. And come to find out, they sent me to gangs. And when I got the gangs, I'm up there pouting like, man, I don't want to be up here.
Hold on for a minute. And he is correct, because at that time I was in gangs, and he came up and he was like,
I
don't be here.
But you didn't understand it yet.
Well, I didn't know what I had got into.
Okay.
And from what I didn't, I thought I did enough where I could make my own path.
Right.
But once I got up there, and then after, it used to be me and my boy Mike Young, they gave us the BS car, the little bitty car. I'm 6'5". He big. We riding around in a little.
Hold on, let me
He got
slow
to
you
earn his
down a little
wages,
bit.
though. He got to earn his time.
I understand. Let me just slow it down, because some of you guys may be meeting Todd for the first time, or you listening in on the app or listening on the FM station. He's really tall, so like when he's saying I'm in a little car, I can understand it. Like he really hoop. He like 6'5", 6'6". You know what I'm saying? So I can understand where you're coming from.
And Mike ain't little either.
Right.
So we both, but me and Mike was like, we gonna do our own thing. But then
It wasn't no fee out of nothing. What they have you?
it was very. I don't even know what it was. I can't even. It was like the Chevy little bitty car.
It's not. So it's not like what they got now. Like,
Cobalt.
The Cobalt. That's what it was.
It was a Cobalt.
The Chevy Cobalt.
So they had y'all in the teenage girl car, right?
What you buy your daughter when she turned 16.
Right.
So they gave us the work car. But then over the course of months, shout out to my girl, Lakia Gaither. She sat right in front of me. She was from Chicago. She talked stuff, and she pulled me in on the case. And then it was like Jordan and Pippen. She was Jordan. She had been in gangs. I was Pippen. And we linked. And from that, gangs became my thing, her thing. We started doing numbers, and we made a name for ourselves just doing what we do.
Right.
And it made it fun. And so over the course of time, I didn't even know I was already doing gang investigations when I was on patrol and stuff like that. But what people didn't know is I have been mentoring since 2005.
Right.
My boy Deion Harrison and Sleepy Green,
Yeah.
they worked for Project Grad at South Atlanta High School. So they used to pull me in to come mentor. And I used to show up in regular clothes so they didn't know I was a cop.
Right.
And then I go switch. And everybody would be shocked like, "Man, he 12."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I think that kind of speaks on your character too, that how you could switch and walk in between both worlds. I'm gonna backtrack just a little bit and slow you down, because you mentioned that you hoop, and coming up as athletes, a lot of time when you're an elite athlete or better at what your sport is, sometimes you get to walk both sides of the fence without participating.
Right.
So it's like the people that are doing what they're doing to make money on the block, the gang members, whatever, you know what I mean? The guys, they respect you.
I am exactly that. I tell people right now, I'm the flower that grew from the concrete. Like, I'm the only person in my neighborhood that went to college. I know everything I knew about dope long before I ever became a cop, because I grew up in that environment.
Right.
I grew up around crack, heroin, and all that stuff.
And they'll look out for an athlete, as meaning like, hey, we don't want you doing this,
They
but you
wouldn't
need
let
some
me
shoes,
stand
you
on
need to
the,
do
They
something.
wouldn't let me stand out there on the
Yeah.
block. They wouldn't let me get into anything. I got into it with somebody hooping. I was tall, so I had to play up with the big older kids.
Right.
And one time somebody hit me with an elbow, and I was 13. And cats from the hood handled that. Man, that's Ty. You don't touch him. You know what I'm saying? And it's a respect thing. But like I tell people,
Don't get too far from the mic, Ty.
no, I'm just saying. No, my bad. I can go to, even right now, I'm 42 years old, man. I can go to a Fortune 500 meeting or a gang meeting in the hood right now, and I'm comfortable.
Right.
Just because of my upbringing and everything that I've been through. And it's one of those things where it's empathy. I can empathize with the people that, like you said, somebody that I arrested still got, because to get respect, you got to give respect.
Absolutely.
Just because I'm arresting you don't mean I got to disrespect you or belittle you or anything like that. I don't know your background. I don't know why you chose to do whatever you do. But I did sign up to be a cop, and I took an oath to do my job. So at the end of the day, we can handle it like gentlemen.
Yeah.
I'm getting to some gangster.
But no, I think we got to respect that, because that's what I think the people in the community need. They need police officers that understand that the situations that most people are in, like a lot of times we're not subjected to Fortune 500 companies or opportunities. All we see is the people with the money or the people moving the dope, right? Or the people with the money, the people maybe breaking in and doing certain things. So you like, that's all I see, that's what I'm going to do, right? But you see that and you're able to talk to those guys a lot of times, especially the younger guys, like, look, man, you don't have to do that. You can do this, you can do that. And you've been really good at that.
Well, I feel like whatever reason that God put somebody in front of me, a mistake ain't a mistake if you learn from it, no matter what it is.
Right.
A mistake ain't a mistake if you learn from it.
Yeah.
And so God may have set somebody in front of me to sit them down so that they can get their life together.
Yeah.
Who am I to judge why they did whatever they did? I'm seeing just like a sin is a sin.
Yeah.
But that's an opportunity for me to try to explain to somebody that you got to do better. If you're in front of me, that means you got to do better or you got to do something different.
That's real.
And that's an opportunity to try to explain to them, like, listen, man, like this is what it is. You know what I stand for. It's not a secret, and you need to do better.
Right.
So,
I like that. You always straightforward with everybody, man. That I've seen. So that's real dope.
I try to be,
commend you
man.
on that.
I try to not have any enemies. I try to be real with any and everybody. I try to treat people like I would want my family to be treated. I saw dirty cops growing up. I saw guys putting people on the hood of the car, doing different stuff.
Slide something in their pocket.
As a police officer, right. But as a police officer, you got to understand that some guys will take a charge to save the respect that they have. If they already struggling, working a job that may not be what they want to work, and all they got is their castle.
Right.
And then you 20-some years old coming in their house trying to tell them what to do. Like some guys will take a charge, fight you, just because if they let you disrespect them in front of their woman, their kids, then what
That's all they got. Right.
Yeah.
Right. I understand that, man. I appreciate those gems. Let me hit this hype button again. I told you going to wear it out. You already answered the question that we wanted to bring up, like how'd you get into law enforcement and kind of your track and then getting into the games and some of the stuff. What are some of the things that you learned that may be really key to share to maybe some of the people who have kids that are dipping and dabbling into that life?
The crazy part about police, a lot of times when people come across our desk, it's too late. So early on, you got to keep your kids active, and everybody can't play sports. Everybody ain't into sports. Find out what their niche is and keep them involved in it, because they say an idle mind is a devil's workshop.
Yes, sir.
So therefore, you got to keep your kids' minds occupied. In 2008, when the housing market crashed, the first thing they did away with was after-school program.
And the rec center.
Right. And if you go past a ball field, like when we were growing up, you would see teams practicing. You don't see that no more.
Yeah.
And so now we're seeing the results of that. We're seeing kids idle. Their minds are idle. And then all it takes is one that say, hey, all we got to do is this. And then it goes from there. And it starts with, like all of us, once you start, girls start liking you. You start worrying about your clothes. I want the J's. I want to be fly. I want a Gucci belt.
And now with social media, it's worse.
Right.
Like
so now people don't even know with social media. What's crazy about social media is I've worked countless video shoots where you'll see a girl take 40 pictures and post one. And then people see that one and like, dang, she bad. Right. And it's like, she took, you don't know all
55 pictures for that one. Right.
She ain't even comfortable with herself.
Right.
But then you might not even know that the same people that look like they shining struggling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for some, it's a facade. Some people really live like that, and all that's great. But for some, it creates other people to feel like my life ain't nothing. I need to do better with myself. And that's the same thing with kids, peer pressure. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Bullying. You struggling, this, that, and the other. And that's what make kids jump off the porch and say, I'm going to steal this car. I'm going to break into these cars. Because
I want to catch up.
Right. I want to shine too. I want to be on Insta. That's why you see everybody with the money, the little money laying out. Like everybody want to show that I got money and different things like that. You don't never see Bill Gates doing that. You don't see Tyler Perry doing that.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Because when you got money, you ain't got to show it.
That's right. Right, that's right. You don't have to prove it to anybody.
That's it.
Right, man. I appreciate that gem right there, man.
Hype button. So.
Right. Let me go ahead. Hit it one more time. Hit it one more time. Now, as you are a law enforcement officer, I know you since left. We're gonna talk about that too. But as an officer, you saw things you wanted to make change, and you didn't want to just talk about it. You wanted to be about it.
That's it.
So we started this program called Clippers of Cops. You were the brainchild and the founder of it, and then you pulled in other people. You know, we had a nonprofit, Positive American Youth, so we partnered on it. It went from a program with Pay USA to a partnership, and now we're just working together in tandem, and you got your own organization, which is dope. I appreciate you letting me be part of it, you know, as well as some other great
You was
guys.
one of the first ones I thought of, though.
Right.
Because I thought of this program sitting on my couch eating a bag of Doritos. All right.
Was it the Cool Ranch?
I don't like Cool Ranch.
There we go.
I like
That's
nacho
right.
cheese and I dip them in onion dip.
Okay.
Shout out to Roy Fry. He taught me that in college. And when he taught me that, I thought it sounded nasty, but it's actually good. Try it. So what happens is whenever there was an officer involved shooting or incident, my social media would
Go
blow
crazy,
up.
right.
Because I got a wide variety of friends. I got black friends, I got white friends, I got thug friends, I got
Right.
corporate friends. So everybody be coming on, Todd, was it a good shoot? Wasn't a good shoot? And like for me, working investigations, I'm like, give it a second, hold up. Let's get all the information. And so when Ferguson happened, that happened in St. Louis. So
Right. And that's
everybody
where you
really,
from. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
everybody really was like, oh shit, Ferguson going down. And I'm like, no offense to Ferguson, but Ferguson to me was the suburbs. Come to Fountain Park.
Right.
Come to the Audemars Tracks.
Right.
Like, that's the hood.
We got other people in the studio. They like, yep.
Right, I'm just come, my boy from St. Louis.
Right, I
I'm
get it,
telling
yeah.
you. And so when that happened, everybody was really coming like, dang, asking questions. And so over the years, I'm like, how can we cultivate that? And so fast forward to around 2018, my
Right.
cousin, shout out to Christy Allen, she's a sergeant with St. Louis Police Department. Me and her started talking, and I was like, man, I think I should do this in the barbershop. That's where the best conversations go.
Yeah.
And she was like, cousin, you should do that. And so I'm like, dang, I don't want it to just be me making my own opinion, pushing it on everybody else. I said I wanted to I know more good cops than, I don't know no bad cops.
Right.
Because for me, you couldn't be around me being that way because I'm going to school you or I'm going to tell you get the step off. You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad you said that because some people, and we've been in several Clippers of Cops, and they'll be like, well, y'all know officers aren't doing right. Why y'all didn't say nothing?
Negative.
Okay. Explain that a little bit, and then we'll get back
The
to
reason
the
I say
conversation.
that is because for me, you guilty by association. If you're a bad cop and you're around me, then for that person that you violated, when they see you with me, they think we birds of a feather flock together.
Got you.
I don't get down like that. I'm good in the hood. I give respect. I get respect.
Got you.
Across the board. We saw that last night.
Absolutely.
Last night was a humbling moment. Fast forward a little bit, just because to be able to shout out to our mayor.
Man, for real.
Shout out to
our mayor of
Andre
Atlanta.
Dickens.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chief Brian. Shout out to Felicia Moore, Richard Wright, all the people and that distinguished people that came through on a phone call, or a text message like, "Yo, we doing this event."
Everybody was a hit. It was artists there, major hip hop artists there. It was major political figures right in Atlanta, and we got so much controversy in Atlanta. It would be very easy for a politician to say, "I don't think I want to talk about policing right now with all of the controversy."
But I take that as a respect piece because me and my boy was talking about it this morning. Name an event in the city where you can actually sit down, talk with the mayor, the chief of the police, and other cops, and actually get feedback.
Real answers.
Right. And that's what, I'm like, dang, I created that.
Yeah.
And when I thought about the program,
I
thought about people, I started thinking about people in different roles.
Yeah.
And because I knew people would have different questions and things. So immediately I thought about you because me and you didn't work together. We didn't hoop together, all this stuff. And I'm like, Reec, I need a moderator that's neutral. Reec funny. He like for real. You keep it light enough where when it start to go left, you can bring everybody back in with one little phrase or something funny. So then I first thought of Dante Booker. Dante Booker, chubby. That's me and him, I call him we the fat boys. Because we the two chubby ones and stuff. And so me and him always debate, laugh, talk. But he been my man for 15 years. And I'm
He
like,
reminds me of a person that can understand both sides too, because
He
he's a
come from
collegiate,
Clarion,
Division
PA.
I PA, but football player, understands the culture, but it's still the police.
and he's very boisterous.
Yeah.
And so he was the first one I thought of. And so once I brought him on, then Finney, I talk to Tyrone Finney every day. He got a stuttering little problem, so he don't like to talk that much, but he know how to do social media and stuff like that, and he a burglary detective. Booker work in our cops unit. So that was number 2. I thought of Andre Lowe.
Yeah.
He missed the first 48. He worked homicide.
You see him on with the towel, first 48.
With the,
Real deal, though, really on television.
So I thought about him because I'm like, he can provide perspective about what it is to have to notify somebody about one of their loved ones being deceased, or just investigations. And he's young, he light skinned. So I'm like, I'm trying to get a young person. You know what I'm saying? That's my guy. So I thought of him. Then Mike Carter worked with me in the zone as a burglary detective. He actually left to go work for the FBI and came back. And so, and he was an instructor at the academy. So I'm like, dang,
That's
he'll
a
be
perfect
perfect.
blend,
Then Ink Man himself, or Curry. He worked with me in gangs. Me and Curry joke a lot because when we worked gangs, me and my partner, we was working straight killers, gang members. We used to have a weekly meeting, and they'd be like, Curry, what you working on? He was working on an ink case.
Wait, hold on.
Now listen, I'm gonna explain it. So he literally did a RICO case on ink. They were stealing ink to counterfeit stuff, and he basically built it up. Got awards for it, but we laugh because we used to be in the office like, oh yeah, Curry, tell us about the ink case again. Get that bull.
He come to the Office Depot.
Yeah.
But they were all gang members.
They
were all gang members doing that, and they was hitting everywhere in Metro Atlanta.
So they were stealing ink so they can counterfeit money.
Yeah.
That's that. You wouldn't think about it like. Let me hit your hype bill. Hit your hype bill.
So they used to joke me about that all the time. I say, bro, y'all work hard. I'm gonna work small.
And he used to come in with his little briefcase, like Matlock and stuff. He had on his little, the little hat he be wearing. So, but I knew working directly with him, he used to have to leave because he was in the military. He was an instructor at the academy, and he was smart. So he's a master instructor.
Super smart, man.
So I wanted somebody to be able to explain our tactics and techniques to the public. So he was a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Who am I forgetting? White Mike.
White Mike.
So once we started, I'm gonna get to him.
And the reason we call him White Mike is because we got 2 mics.
We got light skinned Mike and we got white Mike.
Light Mike
so
and white Mike.
Not to confuse the 2. We call one White Mike. He the only white dude. But I, to be honest with you, I probably talked to him more than anybody just because he's learned so much about. He grew up in East Cobb. And he's a news reporter, so he can provide insight on how the media plays a role in what we see as people.
Yes.
And people recognize him from Clippers and Cops.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's been nothing but positive. But somebody, Amy Vinatieri used to be on the news here. She moved to Miami. She knew him, and she was like, "Hey, I got a friend that's coming to that market. I introduce you to him."
Right.
And so when we went to lunch, and he was like, I'm like, yeah, what you doing tonight? We got this Clippers and Cops thing.
Yeah.
He come. It was the one that we did on Fairburn Road.
It got intense.
So when he came in there,
very intense.
When he came in there, he blown away. Like I've never had access to black people to hear some of the cries of the community.
Yeah.
And so he started making himself available to us, and then that's how our team was formed. From that, March 1st, 2018, I reached out to my boy. Shout out to Stoney's Barbershop at 384 Edgewood, in the heart of the King District over off Edgewood. He got the barbershop. When I was a rookie, when I first started riding up and down Zone 5, I didn't know where to get my hair cut.
Right.
And so I see him in there he had like the cape on. He looked serious. And I was like, hey, can you cut my hair? And he started cutting my hair, and the barbershop got an old barbershop feel. So that became my barber. So when I decided I'm thinking of a location, I'm like, bro, can we use the shop? He like, man, whatever you need. Then my boy Joe Craig, that's when they still was shooting First 48. They was about to leave. I tell him what I'm trying to do. He's like, man, I'll come film it. He comes film it. When he comes and film it, we invited people from the community, but it was going to be initially all men.
Right.
So when we invite everybody in, boom, it's going. We start posting videos. People are like, "Oh my God, this is awesome."
Part, yeah.
So a lady, I saw this lady yesterday. The lady emailed me and she was like, "I'm a single mother. I have a son, and he needs to be a part of those conversations. How can I be involved?" So I'm like, "Dang, we can't discriminate against her." But I didn't want it to be a shouting match.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if we opened it up to a public. I didn't know if it was gonna be we get nothing accomplished and we just argue. So when she said that, I opened it up. Yesterday when I got on my flight to come here from St. Louis, when I walked on the plane, she was the stewardess on the plane.
That's great. Hype Bell again. Look at full circle situations, man. So you were flying back from St. Louis here to do Clippers and Cops.
Yep.
You flying in just for this event and to be on the show. But we get that you meet this young lady who you met years ago.
And she said, "Oh my God, I know you." She's like, "You do that Clippers and Cops thing." I was like, "Yeah, I'm about to fly there now." I'm like, "Who are you?" She was like, "I came to one of y'all." I was like, "Man, you was the first woman to come to Clippers and Cops." And, we laughed and joked and took pictures and stuff like that. But once we opened it up, we start opening it up to the public more. So we did a couple of more. And then we wanted to change venues. So shout out to Zoo Cop Art Gallery, Amari and Anaje Henderson. Right. Zoo Cop Art Gallery is one of the only black-owned art galleries in the cities in Castleberry. Yeah. So they let us use the facility. And when we did it, one of my guys do the shoot, don't shoot simulator because everybody as a police was like, well, they should have shot him in the leg or they should have did that. Yeah. And we try to explain it's a split-second decision. Everything's different. So he brought the simulator, which allowed people to try it out themselves. Right. And it blew people away because a lot of the stuff was happening so fast that they didn't understand. Like, oh, my God. So then one guy was like, man, I ain't shooting no kid. Right. And he heard it. So he's able to set up the machine to do whatever. And when he did in that scenario, the kid actually shot the guy. And he's like, oh, my God, like, that's crazy. Right. Because as an officer, I don't think no officer want to shoot anybody, let alone a kid. Right. But in some instances, it goes there. Like, a lot of people don't understand, like, when somebody's saying stop, this, that, and the other, that's what it's meant. Like, it don't mean, nah, I'm going to reach down here. At the end of the day, as a cop, I don't know you. Yeah. I don't know nothing about you. And I want to save my life as well as your life. You know what I'm saying? Thank God I never was involved in that situation. But I don't think no cop woke up and said, I think I'm going to shoot somebody today.
I got you. I get what you're saying. So if you just catching up, just tuning in, we got Todd Dennis, world-renowned speaker and motivational speaker, founder of Clippers.
Go pro in life.
There we go. Say it again, go pro in life.
Well, the reason that it's funny that you say that because I've been doing motivational speaking. Shouts out to Fulton County Courthouse. I put it up a post last night because I haven't took no formal training. I learned how to speak in public by going to court. I done sat on countless trials and grand jury, all this different stuff. That it basically made me comfortable in speaking in public. Now I'm able to speak in front of, like I tell people, sold out seats to hear Tyrone Dennis speak. You know what I'm saying? Like Biggie, you know what I'm saying? And when you able to captivate an audience, especially young people, my goal is, like, everybody think they're going to be a celebrity. I'm going to the NBA. I'm going to be famous. Right. Well, you can be famous, but a lot of people are pros in their everyday life.
Right. You have to marginalize what success means to you. You really have to say that. So it's like, okay, I didn't go to the NBA, but like you had hoop dreams, but you played across seas. So you played professional basketball, but that brought you to where you at now.
I've accomplished far more in my professional life than I ever did playing ball. Right. And that's saying something. Ball was just a vessel to take me to these places, to get me there, to get my college paid for. And without it, would I went to college? Probably not. Would I be able to go overseas and hoop? No. You know what I'm saying? So it allowed me to go around the world. You got to do what you can.
But how does it feel right now? Because now I sound like my boy B. How does it feel? So now you had dreams of playing at a major Division I school, but now you going to these major Division I schools and speaking to these teams in a different capacity. That's what I mean by visualizing and understanding what success means to you. Because we literally just spoke at Georgia Tech in front of the basketball team.
Well, it brings my life full circle. My mom, shouts out to my mom, Cecilia Savage. My mom is my biggest fan. My wife, too. My kids, Tiffany Tuck, Dennis, my kids. I forget that. But my mom would call me in the morning and be like, I I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, Mom, 42, you have to keep calling.
She gonna call you.
But my mom be like, I was happy because I be getting expelled. You know, my mom was probably thinking, here we go. He finna come with the bull. And she like, ever since, she's like, you didn't graduate high school, college. She's like, you keep getting awards. Every time you do something, I'm in shock. Like, you did something else. And it's like, I don't do what I do for accolades. That's the crazy part. Real recognize real. Like, when you're genuine in what you're doing, other people speak for you. It's just like when people debate about who better, LeBron or Jordan.
Right.
That ain't for them to debate.
That's for
us to debate. And for me, everything I do out the kindness of my heart. I want to leave a legacy where I can say, I tried.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people run their mouth and say, man, they need to do this or they need to fix that. What are you doing to fix that?
Right.
And I'm not saying Clippers and Cops is an end all. Like, you get Clippers and Cops.
No, it's action though. It's action and it's making progress.
At the end of the day, Clippers and Cops, like what we learned since we've been doing it, like you said, we went to Georgia Tech, is the Barbershop is our mainstay. That's our brand. Right. That's what we started as. But the campus, the classrooms, we've started, I call it Clippers and Cops campus invasion. Yeah. Because when we go to South Atlanta, when we go to Georgia Tech, when we go to Clark, Morehouse, all these Georgia State, all these different places, you see young minds that are our future being cultivated to understand what we talk about, decision making, goal setting, do's and don'ts on traffic stops. We actually do scenarios where when a kid get pulled over, what they need to do. Yeah. We talk about bullying, sexting, online predators, gas pump safety, mall safety, Christmas shopping safety. Yeah. So, like Coach Passion at Georgia Tech, shout out to Josh Passion at Georgia Tech because he brought us in. But like Coach Passion said, he said, I brought you guys in thinking my team was going to learn a lot. He said, hell, I learned a lot.
For real,
you know what I'm saying? Man, because we're talking about real life stuff.
It's life skills, especially when it pertains to dealing with the police, but also in law enforcement in general, but also just dealing with everyday common sense things that maybe we don't think about as a general public.
We don't, because most people, when you work robberies, when you work robberies and stuff like that, and you go pull surveillance footage, most time people are like, oh my God, they just came out of nowhere. And then you look at the footage and somebody was walking with their phone, updating their status. This guy been stalking you for blocks. Right. You got to pay attention. You got to keep all these different things in mind. And a lot of kids, when they dropped off at schools, they dropped off in school and they not knowing that the school is in Southwest Atlanta. Right. Like when you leave Georgia Tech or when you leave Georgia, any of our colleges in the metro Atlanta area, you in Atlanta. You in the hood. You in the hood.
College is a college, but once you go a block over, like especially in AUC or Georgia State or Georgia Tech, like, come on.
So the kids are, if you green and you come from a suburban environment, you're not, that's foreign to you. So you feel like I can walk and go, I'm at school, they're not going to bother me. That's a lie.
You're a target.
You're a target, and they need to know that. And a lot of parents don't necessarily have those talks. And so we, being law enforcement, dealing with that, our backgrounds afford us the opportunity to speak on it and speak on it soundly in a way to help them understand that we're not trying to scare you. We're not trying to. We're trying to educate, and so that's what we're on now. My goal with Clippers and Cops is to be in every city in America to rethink policing as a whole. Like, if as police we supposed to be a part of the community, why we ain't meeting with the community? Right. We should be a part, just like we did last night. That should be going on in every city every third Thursday. Yeah. So that's my goal. So shout out to corporate sponsorship because we need it.
It's a great thing. I mean, these companies say they want to be in the community, in our communities, and communities that they want to influence the right way. Support a program that's actually doing it and really touching and saving lives, because they will remember that.
We are that. When people talk about police reform, last year when everything popped out with George Floyd, we were that. We are willing to meet with the community and have these tough conversations. Right. We're not saying that everybody's going to agree, but if you go to any type of marital counseling, anything, the first thing they're going to tell you is communication. Yeah. And that we're opening up that dialogue to be able to have that. Right. To empathize with something you may know nothing about. It helps us. I started reaching out to our academy. Shout out to Major Collier. He started bringing the recruits, not so that they can talk, but so they can listen. They're learning all these other training. Yeah. They need to learn what the cries of the public, to hear them so you can understand. We did a session called The Way You Make Me Feel. Right. Little stuff can make somebody really dislike you.
Or really uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
Putting somebody on the hot hood of a car can really piss some. Right.
Yeah.
Where you thinking like, dang, bro, this, or all that different stuff. Where
making the cuffs too tight. Why the cuffs be so tight?
Because if they don't lock them,
I know. I got sensitive wrists.
Why you got sensitive wrists?
Push-ups. All right, so look, we're gonna get into a couple of things. So I want to talk about two things. I definitely want to bring, because we have another brother all the way here from Houston that's developed a product that we like to showcase during Clippers and Cops to help with traffic stops. Because we like to say this: there's a difference between reality and what rights are. Right. So your right may be you can have an attitude officer. You can tell them I don't want to give you my license, but the reality of it is you may end up agitating the situation. That's correct. Right, especially if you're a law-abiding citizen. My thing is like, okay, I should be able to say whatever I want to, right? Cool, but I have to understand they people too. So if I say something disrespectful, he may respond disrespectfully. Right. But he's an officer with a gun in the badge. So at the end of the day, I probably won't win that battle on the side of the road. Right, so we go through different things and simulations with getting pulled over. So I want to bring that brother in a second, but first I want to talk about one other thing. I got my fast forward questions too, so I got to ask you my fast forward questions. But you left the force, and you an officer, what we call a quote unquote good officer. You a guy that can understand both sides, right? We talked about that through this whole conversation. Why do you think so many officers are leaving the force?
Because we one bullet away from death and one mistake away from indictment. Who wants to roll the dice with their life for $48,000, $50,000 when I can go be a man? No disrespect to anybody, work as a manager anywhere, but I can go be a manager at Quick Trip and make the same money that's safer. Yeah. And for me, I didn't leave because, like we just said, I was good in the hood. Yeah. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you left because of the George Floyd arrest." No, I left for an opportunity. The same school district that expelled me, my office is the same office that I got expelled from.
Hold on, let me hit that's full circle right there. That's
it was.
Circle.
So
I love that.
I'm now the director of school safety for Rockwood School District. That's the same school district that expelled me. They welcomed me back with open arms. It was all about really opportunity to go home and money. Right. Because at the end of the day, for up until my 14th year, I made $48,000 on paper. Like as an officer, I worked extra jobs, which supplement my income.
I see you many nights at the club.
Exactly. Right? But at the same time, I should be able to work 40 hours a week and have an adequate wage for me, my wife, and my 3 children.
Yeah, I say that a lot, man. Teachers and police are some of the most underpaid and under-respected.
That's it. It's crazy because then what would anybody do if a better opportunity presented? They gonna take it. Most people in Atlanta are from somewhere else and moved to Atlanta for a better opportunity. Right. And so for myself, I took that opportunity to go home, to be around my family. For a long time, I felt like I fed off my land, and I took my talents to Atlanta. But now I've been here in Atlanta almost the same amount of time I lived in St. Louis, so I got 2 homes. Right. But on the flip side, it takes being back and some of the things we talked about last, crime in the city, it take a wolf to catch a wolf. Yeah. And my track record is proven. But at the same time, I do community work as well. Yeah. I've been doing community work for 18 years.
But that's really being gangster though to me. Like if I'm not just taking people off the streets, I'm gonna keep people in a position where they never had to be behind bars. And I think that's what makes you so dope.
Because I want to get them before they come across my desk. Right. At the end of the day, I can show you my playbook, to hopefully that you understand that every cop ain't green. Every cop ain't lame. Every cop.
I know what's going on. Right.
I know we speak the same language, but don't make me be a cop. Right. I want to be your friend. I want to get to know you. Hey, I want you to come back 4 or 5 years.
You told me that before. Yeah, right. He was like, hey, I'm not going to run your license because if it come back bad, I got to do my job.
Exactly.
Here's a number to check it, though.
There you go. Right. That's being real. But by the fact that you're having access to somebody like me to be able to tell you, everybody don't. But at the same time, where you saying, why did I leave? They asked that question last night. At the end of the day, it's basic dollars and cents. Yeah. Should I stay and make $48,000, $50,000 where I occupy 2 spaces, a lead detective and one of the best community programs, not only in Atlanta, but in the country. What is that worth to the city of Atlanta? $50,000?
Yeah.
60?
That actually should be a couple of salaries.
It should. And that's two different salaries. So the question is, what is it worth?
Yeah.
And so, me personally, I had to do what I had to do for me and my family.
That makes sense.
And at the end of the day, I love Atlanta. Atlanta loved me.
I mean, you just came back and did an event.
And
so
I
it's
paid
showing
for
that.
my own flight to come back to do this with Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of them things is the people, powers that be, got to ask themselves, what is that worth?
Right.
How do we retain these officers? These officers, we're creating people with a wide variety of skill sets that in other professional realms are coveted.
Yeah.
So you got to think, how do we maintain them? How do we give them incentives to stay?
This man busted $1 million syndicate off of ink robberies. For goodness sakes, come on now, we got to do better.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
What is that worth?
I get it, man. Before we bring our guy all the way from Houston down to talk about the pocket and what to do on traffic stops, we'll go through a couple of very quick scenarios because we inching up on time here. I got to ask you my fast 4 questions, man. So you ready? It's the first thing that comes to mind. It doesn't have to be one word. It could be a sentence, all right? Where's your favorite place to eat and what meal is it? Because I know you travel a lot, so you got to give me a restaurant, man. We need some ideas.
Milk and Honey, baby.
There we go.
They catered the event. Shout out to Sleepy Green, Deion Harris, and them my brothers. Hey, Milk and Honey all day. Milk and Honey.
That was a setup question.
Hey, you see it wasn't no food left last night.
none.
So when you in Atlanta, they got one of the best brunch spots in the city. Let's go.
All right, if you could pick one thing that you wish people could just get or just knew when it comes to police, what would it be?
It would be that we are human, and at the end of the day, we want every cop signed up wanting to save the world and be a peacekeeper and things of that nature. And people, there's a lot of cops that truly care about the people.
Yeah.
And I think the public don't get that. I think the public think all they want to do is kill black people. No, we don't. I don't think even the ones that have don't. But every situation is different, so I won't get in that. But at the same time, I know that people like myself, people like everybody that's with our Clippers and Cops crew, we take our own time and dime and do this, and we've been doing this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Nobody didn't put us up to this. Nobody didn't say, hey, I need to go talk to the black folks. None of that. Right. We decided to do that, and we're black.
Except for white Mike.
Except for white. He's black. He adopted black, so he been down with us long enough.
All right, man, you got a dinner table with 5 seats. Who are you inviting? And I know we're going to Milk and Honey now, but who are you inviting to those 5 seats?
Anybody in the world?
Yeah, anybody.
My wife, of course.
That man knows how to answer questions.
Who else? My mama, of course.
Now you got 3 more seats.
Let me help him out.
Let's just say they're coming with you. Okay,
you're going to add 5 more people. Okay.
Man, I need Tyler Perry, Jay-Z, LeBron, and Jordan. Okay. And who else? Oprah.
Okay.
Because I want heavy hitters to be able to pick their brains on how to be successful. One thing I love about LeBron is he basically set the platform for his crew. Yeah. Like if you watch Clutch Academy and see how Rich Paul and them doing it, like you think about it, he basically bet on himself to help his team get on and teach them the business. And for me, I love that because on the road to success, it's enough opportunity for everybody. It's not just me. Like, you know how I be. Like, I play the back row with us. Everybody know I'm the face, but I want my guys to get as much shine as I do. Because
I don't let you do it, but yeah, I get it. I'm like, come on, Todd.
If everybody win, if I win, everybody wins.
Absolutely. I love
That's
that, man.
what I like.
I think that signifies a lot of your success, too. All right, last question. Advice you would give Todd before his first day on the force?
I'm going to tell you the advice I got on the first day that I started from Lieutenant Terry Steele. He brought me in the office. He said, these your people. He said, if you can't police your people right, they may find somebody that will. He said, but they honor you more around here when you 6 feet under. He said, but you're not here to see it. He said, so stay alive on my first day. Yeah. And I took that to heart. At the end of the day, these my people. I'm black. These are people. Right. Black, white, whoever. You treat everybody the same. Even I learned a lot about the LGBTQ community here you know what I'm saying, different stuff that it don't matter what somebody do in their personal time. You treat everybody with respect. You show love, and you get love. And if that ain't godly, I don't know what is.
There we go. We're going to end it on that. All right, let's go ahead and bring my brother up. I want you to come around. You come around behind these two gentlemen. I want you to, you will be in frame, my brother, right in between those two. I want you to showcase this situation you got. Yeah, right there. Yeah, you got the pocket. So you develop a product that we really need out here because I have teenage drivers, right? Some of us like to give our kids those stories. I know Curry, most events you'll come and you'll say, hey man, I got pulled over and I had to know how to act with an officer. But had you had this product, it might have helped. So kind of explain what this product is and how it will help during the traffic stop.
So this product was created for my son when he was 16. Can you hear me clearly?
Absolutely, yeah.
It was created for my son when he was 16, right when I seen Philando Castile get murdered by police. And I knew I had to do something at that moment because I knew that could have easily been my son. My son finna start driving. And within 4 years, my son was going to be going to college.
Yeah.
So I had to figure out a way to protect my son when I wasn't around. Didn't want my son calling me saying he'd been harassed by the police. Or not get a phone call from my son at all because he's been shot by a police officer for asking to reach for his license and insurance.
Right.
So that's why I came up with this product, the Pocket USA, and it's just in case if you're getting pulled over by the police, you will already have your license and insurance in this product. So all you would do is roll your window down and attach it to the outside of your vehicle. So by the time the police officer is walking up, he will see both hands visible on the wheels, and he would have everything he needs already on the outside of your vehicle. So now he can be in a comfortable state of mind.
Right.
And you as a driver can feel a whole lot safer knowing you don't have to move and reach for anything when asked to reach for your license and insurance. So all he would have to do is just take this product off your door, take it to his vehicle, run your license. Now if he was to give you a ticket or a warning, he can place it right back in this product, attach it right back on your door. You drive away, he walks away.
Yeah.
So this product just did a couple of things for us in this situation. It controlled the situation. It protected your inner peace. It kept negativity out of your vehicle, and it also helped with social distancing.
There we go.
So all I'm trying to do with
CDC
this product,
loves it. Go ahead and get one today.
all I'm trying to do with this product is make sure the way that we enter traffic stop is the way we need to leave traffic stops. Because what we don't know is the attitude of a police officer that day. What happened to him with his police chief that morning. What happened to him the night before with him and his wife, girlfriend, or whatever.
Right.
And they can just want to take it out on the first person they see. So I created this product, man, just to make sure we're fighting too many battles out here.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to eliminate one of them.
Right.
And that's police brutality and doing the traffic stop.
So we go to the Pocket USA.
ThePocketUSA.com is the website.
Cool, man. And it's in the live chat if you guys are tuned in on Facebook or YouTube right now. We appreciate you listening. Make sure you check it out, ThePocketUSA.com. And it'll also be on our website, too, at ReecRadio.com. We appreciate you, bro, for creating that. For real. Now, as an officer, if you pulled somebody over and you saw that on the window, what is your first reaction?
Well, first of all, the reaction, it would stop you in your tracks because you're like, what is this?
Your face.
He like that, you know, and then you have to look at it. Yeah, and I probably, you know, I have it in my car.
Right,
Actually, my son has one, I has one, my family has one.
My daughter has one, too.
So, I'm just waiting my opportunity to use it.
Yeah.
But it ain't came yet. But I ain't going to rush it.
Let me hit the hype bell for Curry not getting pulled over.
You're gonna be like, bam! Pocket USA!
Pocket USA. Get this on camera, you know. But I think what it will really do is, first of all, it will stun them because they was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then it will de-escalate the situation in most cases because they was like, okay, and then also, you don't want to talk to me?
Right,
no,
right.
here's I know what you're stopping me for, so it's already here. So, and then at that point, I think it would ease, like you said, ease some of the tension because it would, being an officer, it would be like, what is this? You know?
You'll probably start laughing or something.
Yeah, I was like, you know,
what is
what is this? But some things like that, you need to break that cycle because
absolutely.
as you look at it, you know, police officers really don't know what they're dealing with sometime when they come to that car.
That's right.
And so, you know, everybody say, I don't know you, but you could be, and like you said, based on the situation that the officer might have previous, that your escalation, you mad or you trying to go somewhere and he slows you down or she slows you down, then it changes the momentum of it all. So I would just think it would be one of those things like, oh, what is this? And might ease the pain, and they'll be like, where did you get that from? Well, you can look on the side of here, and it's the Pocket USA, and you can, matter of fact, you can order you something for your family.
Right.
Because that's what I did, because, I just want to make sure I get home safely, and you get home safely.
Because you understand the reality of the situation.
It is also on trying to do something different.
Yeah.
Once again, at the end of the day, we've learned that policing in some ways hasn't worked because the world has changed, and some of our tactics are still the way that they are.
Yeah.
But if we have ways to reinvent or change some things, tweak it, let's do it. This is definitely one of those tweaks that it can help big time. You know what I'm saying? Just because of the interaction. And I think fear of, for me, when I pull somebody over, I don't want to see them. Let me get in. Most people keep their stuff in their glove compartment. Right. And when people leaning over and stuff like that, I don't know what you're reaching for. Because like for myself, I keep my gun by me. So I don't know if you're reaching to try to come back up and hit me or whatever. Right. So this is something that's quick, boom, boom, boom. We can see each other and everything's cool. Right.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Let me hit the hype here for the PocketUSA.com. Make sure you guys check it out. Somebody just tapped in and said that's a great idea. I think that the state should be looking closely at this, and new teen drivers should come with their license. That's just my own personal opinion, but that'll be for another time. Man, Ty, I appreciate you coming through. Dr. Curry, thank you for joining the show.
Yeah, man, you always got so smart to say. It's all good, though. It's all good, though. But that's why they had OG here, just to, be in the background.
It's all out of respect.
Yeah, man. I know. That's why I like it. That's why I do.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We about to jump into our mix with my brother DJ Decepticon and DJ OS. We're gonna be going crazy this weekend. Make sure you tap in with us because we got new music on Saturday coming up here too. Thank you guys for tuning in. Of course, we go with the Pops Knows Best or Reese's Peace of Mind around this time. And what these brothers just brought today was a different perspective. So never get caught up in your own neighborhood within your mind. I'm not talking about the place you physically are. I'm talking about the place that you may be able to visualize and see. So don't just get caught up and get complacent on where you are right now with your mind. You may not love or not like the police at all, but when you talk to a brother like these guys right here, you understand that they are people just like we are too. So don't get caught or trapped up in the neighborhood. Unlock yourself. All right, man, we up out of here. We love y'all. We gone.